Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. We begin a new week of learning. Hope everyone had a great Shabbos. We ask you to please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvagan Yisrael, for Shalom Chalbatui Yisrael, and the return of our hostages, for Kvuras Yisrael. And what a closing of the circle that we heard the news that Hadar ben Ched v'Leah Golden finally being able to have Kvuras Yisrael after so many years. And here in our shul, as we said his name so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times, davening for his return and to be able to see that come to fruition and to give his family a little bit of closure, an odd sense of relief and grief and sadness, but also, Baruch Hashem, that he's going to be Zocheh to Kvuras Yisrael. So we ask you, please keep davening for the remainder, that we should all be able to see those families have that closure they so deserve. And we dedicate our learning each and every day to Nishmat Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Jerome v'Shel Shem Gendamo. So the next chapter, L'Kivon Yerushalayim, we're discussing Shemoneh Esreh. B'chol chalkei hatfila yachal mispal panos as panav l'chol kivon sheyirtzeh. In any part of davening, you could turn wherever you want. Aval kivon sheyagil l'sheyas hatfila. But when you get to the pinnacle, when you get to the height of davening, which is the Shemoneh Esreh, and you get up and you stand in front of your king in this supplicative form, you have to direct your countenance towards Jerusalem, the place where Hashem has chosen to have the Shekhinah, the divine presence, dwell. If you're in the diaspora like we are right now, meaning myself personally, then you have to position yourself towards Israel. And you have to intend your heart pointed towards Yerushalayim. And again, that's towards Jerusalem, towards the Beis HaMikdash and the Holy of Holies. And if you're standing in Israel, then you have to face Jerusalem. And then, of course, your heart towards the Beis HaMikdash and the Holy of Holies. If you're davening in Yerushalayim, then you have to direct your countenance towards wherever the Beis HaMikdash is, depending on where you are in Jerusalem, and your heart towards the Kodesh Kodashim. Therefore, so if you're davening at the Kotel, then you have to direct yourselves during Shemoneh Esreh towards the place of the Beis HaMikdash. Kolomar, so if you're in the open part of the Kotel Plaza, you have to turn slightly towards your left. And even if you're in the covered part, so towards the left part of the Kotel, when you go indoors, inside, underneath, you also have to daven a little bit to the left, which is why people like to daven as much to the left as possible to get as close to the Kodesh Kodashim as they can. So then, generally speaking, when we build a shul, we put the Aron Kodesh in the direction of Jerusalem, so that when you face the Aron Kodesh, you're going to be able to face Jerusalem. The main thing is to daven towards Yerushalayim. So let's say you're in a shul, and either by accident or some circumstance out of their control, the Aron Kodesh is not in the direction of Jerusalem. Then you could turn your face towards Yerushalayim. And if everyone just automatically faces the Aron Kodesh, it's better not to do something different than everyone else does. So then you should face the Aron Kodesh, even though it's incorrect, but everyone's doing it. You don't want to look like you're a separatist, but at least you should turn your head slightly towards Yerushalayim. If you don't know which way is Yerushalayim, then you should daven to whatever direction you want, as long as you have your intention towards your Father in heaven. Even if it becomes clear to you that you have made a mistake, then you don't have to go back and daven again and face the proper direction towards Yerushalayim. Here in, let's say, the northeastern United States, so we actually say, you face east, Mizrach. When you grew up in Chutz La'aretz, just we have this notion of Mizrach, but it's really Israel, Yerushalayim. So, for instance, in the old Yeshiva University Beis Medrash, not the current one, but the old one, people would face their own Kodesh, and some people would turn towards their right and face towards the corner because that was more towards Yerushalayim. Generally speaking, we build our shuls with the Aron Kodesh on the Mizrach side, and therefore you have to face accordingly. Again, that's part of shul construction and design. It's very odd for a chutznik, when someone who lives in the diaspora, when they go to Israel and they say, face east. No, it's not east. You have to face Yerushalayim. So if, let's say, you're in Beersheba and you're in the south of Israel, you would never face east, obviously, because then you're facing towards a different country. You want to face north towards Jerusalem. Or if you're north of Jerusalem, you say, well, which way is south? So there they don't say which way is east. They just say which way is Yerushalayim. I actually have a wonderful little siddur that has a compass on it, and it tells you anywhere in the world which way is Yerushalayim. The east point of the compass is not east, it's Yerushalayim. So, and we have these apps and all these types of things that help us. But it's always good to know where you are in general, physically, but also where you are in life. But it's nice to know that you're all here with us as we begin another week of learning. Please continue davening for Chali Tzvah Yisrael, for Yisrael, Return of our hostages, L'Kvuras Yisrael. Thank you so much for joining. Dedicate each day to Nishmat and Daniel Shemoneh Esreh. Have a great day. We'll see you here next time.